Hi everyone, and welcome to Tea with
CNC.
Today's tea, cheers, is from Black Wellness. So it's BLAQUE Wellness, and she sells her teas and her skincare in Kensington Market. Her name is Cece. I don't know how old she is, but she has a grown son and she looks like she's 20. So I recommend using and drinking all of her products.
Shout out to Cece.
Shout out to Cece. So this is a detox dandelion and hibiscus tea. Mm-hmm. So it has dandelion, hibiscus, nettle, ginger, and cinnamon. Mm. And dandelion is anti-inflammatory. It helps with your heart. It can help lower your blood pressure. And it also helps detox the liver, which, let's be honest, Candace,
we need that right now. We did go out last night. We have been drinking, indulging in
a hot
alcohol.
Girl summer.
Yeah,
it's been indulging in a hot girl
It's
summer.
A hot girl summer, yes. So, it's important to cleanse those organs inside of us.
And so good. It's so hot, though, but it's so delicious.
Yeah. And so this tea is great for that.
Which brings us into our topic.
Yeah, which was suggested from a friend and a viewer of ours. And the topic today is self-care. I also want to shout her out, Bianca. She actually designed our logo that we've been using. So we are very much grateful. Hopefully we can plug her Instagram account in the comments or the caption, sorry. Because she's a great designer, and she also makes desserts. So
I didn't know she made desserts.
Yeah, she makes desserts. So if anybody's looking for some desserts for a special occasion, or they're looking for some graphic design work,
or just to treat yourself.
Yeah, facts. If you just have a sweet
self-care. So yeah, let's get into it. I feel like self-care for me has looked very different over the years. I used to think that self-care was all about meditating and drinking water, and it is all of those things, but it's also indulging and having fun and letting loose and not being so serious and organized and
uptight. Yeah. So self-care.
I say that because I felt uptight and I felt I'm unwound now a little bit,
Oh, you were uptight.
Yeah,
I feel like that too. I feel like it's a season of joy in my life and in our lives. And in the past, I feel like we were so serious, everything was so serious. We need to make more money, we need stability. What are we going to do with our life? What does our life look like? How does that going to come together? And I think now we've realized that it's about what makes you feel good. It's not.
You could be gone tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not just about reaching goals. It's what makes me feel good. What's good for me, and what makes me feel good and enhances my wellness and happiness.
And I saw this speech that Jim Carrey made, and basically he said that he wishes everybody could be rich and famous, so that they knew that that's not what mattered. And I found it really interesting because I feel that way about every goal I've ever gotten to. That whenever I just put my head down and ignore everything around me, and I don't mean that in a focused way. I mean that in a way of I'm telling myself I will be happy once I get X. As soon as I get the thing I thought I wanted, as soon as I climb that hill, I realize oh, this isn't all that. But of course it's not all that, because you didn't even enjoy the process of getting it.
Yeah, the journey.
If you don't enjoy the process of getting something, the process of getting to know a person, for example, and you're so rushed to the finish line of I want marriage and kids, and you're not actually enjoying the relationship, the journey together, that is a sure sign that once you get all those things, you're going to be unhappy.
Yeah, exactly. So self-care, it is still getting your adequate sleep each night, and de-stressing, having downtime, and eating well. However, I feel like self-care now looks to me like putting aside worry and like having fun and going out and dancing and spending time.
Definitely go down.
Spending valuable time uninterrupted with my friends and loved ones. Like, I feel like even aside from stability and money, it's like those things are fulfilling to me, and that's what helps me to feel. I feel like that is love for myself, like putting myself in these positions where I can just enjoy life, I can let loose, I'm not thinking so much, I'm not overthinking. Like, that's self-love to me, self-care. You know, it's like that's caring for your mental, that's caring for your body, that's caring for your spirit, because all of these things, like dancing, like they produce the feel-good hormones, like being around loved ones, being affectionate, those create those chemicals in your body that will help you live longer.
And I also think part of it is like releasing shame around doing things that aren't productive. You don't have to always be producing. I saw this amazing content creator, and I'll tag her also, that she's like incredible. But one of the things she talks about is we are not here to be consumed. We're here to be experienced, which means that we're meant to be present and people are meant to be present in our presence. And it's not about us creating versions of ourselves that are consumable, that are easy for people to digest. Like, it's okay to do shit that's not productive, and somebody will tell you like, oh, you had a lazy day. It's like, did you enjoy your day? That's all that matters. It's not about what you're doing. And sometimes I feel bad because it's like our bodies will need that rest.
Exactly.
And we will reject it.
And rest is not always sleeping. Like, it's not even about laziness. It's like about stillness. It's about calmness. Like, how can we find peace within ourselves if we don't even give ourselves a moment to just relax? You know, like for our bodies to be relaxed, for our minds to be relaxed. Like, and I can relate because I'm a person that I was always go, you know, like, as you know from our previous episode, I had a child young, so I was on a mission, right? Like, go. I need to
pressure.
Provide stability. I need to make sure I can provide for him and, you know, create a beautiful life. So I was always go, and I finally reached a place where I'm like, that is not conducive anymore to a happy life. It's not conducive anymore to healthiness. You know,
it's survival.
And
that's the thing too, is like, I always thought in order to come out of survival, I had to reach a certain level in my life. I was like, okay, I'm just going to survive until I get married and I have a child and we have a house, and if I can just survive until I get to that goalpost, then I can enjoy life. Once I've done the cookie cutter version of life that everyone's handed to me. And it's like, no, the shit you don't enjoy, it is just waiting for you on the other side of that, of the thing you think is going to bring you joy, because you are going to be there with yourself no matter where you go. There you are, right? So if you can't find joy within yourself, and if you can't learn to get out of that survival mode within your current situation, you are, no matter what you achieve, you're going to be in survival, because it's never going to be enough.
And to be honest, you know, certain things are important, you know what I mean? Like financial stability, in the sense of like, I can at least pay my rent or mortgage or have a roof over my head. Like, obviously, if those things are not secure, it's kind of hard to think outside of that and even care enough to like create moments of like joy and happiness. However, it's like, if you have the basics, or you can create, you know, a way of securing those basics, it's like, now it's time to lean into other things, right? Like creating space for laughter, you know what I mean? Creating space for laughter, creating space to like not take yourself so seriously and just be like, what do I want to do today, you know, or like what it will be fulfilling to me today. I think is important, you know.
But that basic need that you're talking about, of like people getting to that basic need, and because it's hard to think about how do I get out of survival if like you're quite literally trying to survive and you don't have your basic needs met.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you that time and time again, if I am in that mode, that survival mode where I'm like, oh shit, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough this, I don't have enough that, and I get out of that lack mentality and go, okay, you know what, like an example, a testimony, if you will, is like, I had like very little to no money, and there was a class around the corner from me, an improv drop-in class, and it was like, pay what you can. So I was like, okay, let me go to this class, I have $5. And it's like, some people would be like, I'm not going to spend $5 on that, like I have to use it towards like food right now, because I don't have a lot. But I knew that I needed to get out of this like funk and this like energy of lack that I was in.
Yeah.
And then I went, I met some people, they paid me to do a hosting gig, I made some money. It's like, sometimes you think that if you do what society tells you to do, and you just keep your head down and you just work really hard and you take on a second job and a third job and and it's like, no, because you're moving out of desperation and you're moving out of lack.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, how could you tell people to not move out of that when they don't have? But it's like, you quite literally have to care for yourself no matter what you're going through.
Yeah.
It's like, treat yourself like if you had a child. Like, no matter what you're going through financially, you still have to feed the child. You still have to care for the child. You still want the child to experience some joy.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, you really just have to make a choice. It's like, I'm going to make, for example, happiness or joy or, you know, myself a priority.
The highest priority.
Yeah, you have to make yourself the highest priority. That means, like, I'm not sacrificing anymore for people when I know it's going to be a detriment to myself, right? Like, I need that sleep, you know? Oh, I need those funds. Like, somebody needs to borrow money, but I need it, you know? I need it for myself, to care for myself, right? And so, yeah, one thing is, like, you have to make a pledge to yourself to be like, I can't self-sacrifice anymore, especially not to, like, a dangerous degree, you know? Like, if you have moments of self-sacrifice, okay. But like, chronically self-sacrificing is not good, you know? It's gonna catch up with you. And also, it's like, it's gonna take hits at your self-esteem and confidence when you're constantly putting others before yourself.
And that is another thing about like self-worth. Like, self-care and like your self-worth are directly linked, because if you don't feel worthy, and you know, I think a lot of people think that they're confident, but then they end up in situations where they're being consistently like disrespected or mistreated. And if you find yourself in a lot of those situations, I think I would consider deep diving into like, do I feel worthy? Or do I just feel worthy when, like, there are things that happen in life, like at one point I wasn't working, I didn't feel worthy of like dating. So if like anyone would approach me, I would be like, oh, I can't date, I don't have my shit together yet. And people do that with so many different things in their life. Like, I'm not worthy of spending $5 on joy because I'm barely paying my rent. And it's like, well, no, that is actually your highest priority, is your joy. Because if you fall into this deep depth of depression, it won't matter what you have around you.
Exactly. And what we have to realize is worthiness is intrinsic. Right? So it's not based on material. It's not based on other people's opinions of you, how many people say, you know, you're the greatest or not. It's based on your own perspective of yourself. You know, like, you have to create the basis in which you think you're great. You know, you have to feel like, I am worthy of all the great things that this life can offer me. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of friendship. I'm worthy of joy. I'm worthy of peace, you know? I'm worthy of protection. Like, say this to yourself, you know. And at the end of the day, it's like, if you feel uncomfortable in situations or people around you are making you feel uncomfortable, self-care is protecting yourself. Self-care is removing yourself. You know, like, you have to be your own safe space.
I read this quote the other day that said, someone that's been through trauma, their boundaries might be extreme to other people. But it's because they are protecting Bumblebee. They're protecting their safety.
Yes.
So if you've experienced trauma and your boundaries seem intense to other people, they seem extreme to other people, like, why are you pushing people away? It's like, no, you're creating boundaries around your personal safety so that you can let people in.
Yes.
I need boundaries to feel vulnerable.
Yes. You know, and that can include time. You know what I mean? Like, people are not entitled to all of your time and attention. You need to keep some for yourself. You know, outside of working, like, there's times I am working and then, you know, obviously I tend to my son, but then it's like, I need some solitude because that makes me feel better. I need to regulate my system. I need to feel, you know, I need to take space so that I can feel calm and I'm not always like on high alert or always going. So I know that, like, yes, even though I might have time, it's not necessarily just give to someone else. You know, like, I have family members that call me sometimes and I don't answer, and they're like, why don't you answer your phone, or you didn't call me back the same day, and I'm like, yeah, I was busy.
And you're not a business.
Yeah,
you don't need to get back to people within 24 hours,
right?
48 hours, 72 hours, like
20 minutes.
Not your
20, some people expect you to get back to them in 20 minutes. It's like, no,
you're a human, you're a living, breathing thing. You need that self-nurturing time. And some practical points for people that are like, okay, how do you prioritize yourself? One major thing that has helped me is having a space around my highest priority. So my highest priority is that I have a morning routine of meditation. So in my space, I have my yoga, a space for my yoga mat. I have a space for my meditation chair, and that is my highest priority. So that is a space that is always set up. Sometimes people are like, oh, my highest priority is that I work out, but every single day they have to put all their workout stuff away and take all their workout stuff out. And it's like, maybe you only put it away when you're entertaining. Because your highest priority is you. So figure out the stuff that brings you joy and literally work your life around it. Work your space and manage your time around it.
And just take time to learn yourself. Like, what I've realized works for me too is, like, I have a notebook right on my nightstand because I need to release thoughts a lot. Like, I think a lot, right? And, you know, thinking a lot can make you anxious because, like, your mind's always going, right? So what helps me sometimes to feel calm or release is writing in my notebook. You know, sometimes I'll just be like, I look over and I see it, I'm like, I want to write some thoughts. You know, it could be anything, right? You're just like having thoughts, or, you know, you feel a little overwhelmed, or just an idea. Sometimes it could be an idea. Sometimes it's something you want to release. Sometimes it's something that you desire. Sometimes it's just like a thought about somebody you know, or like something. Sometimes it's something beautiful that you're like, I enjoyed this today. You know, I'm grateful. Whatever it is, you can put it on a piece of paper to just release it, you know, like take it out of your system. And it's also therapeutic, like actually moving your hand and physically writing. Very therapeutic for me. So.
And it helps, like, I can see that being so helpful before, like, bed too. Like, if you have all these, like, oh, my to-do list tomorrow, or oh, I forgot about this, instead of feeling like I have to jump up or look at my phone. Exactly. That's another thing. I lost my phone on a bus to New York. And to my family and friends' great dismay, did not have a phone for like months.
Right.
But it helped me disconnect from this feeling of like, I am not an emergency worker. So this whole idea of like, if people can't contact you or if they don't have access to you, people will often say, what if there was an emergency? Call 911.
Call 911. Because we're not paramedics. we're not. And even if you are, your private time when you're off the clock is not to be called for emergencies, to be honest.
It is a wild concept that people would have access to us at all times. And I think the biggest gift you can give yourself in terms of self-care is moments alone. And when I say moments, I genuinely mean, like, if you set a timer on your phone and you meditate for 2 minutes every single morning and every single night, and if you're like, meditate, I don't know what to do, put some music on, some calming music, and sit for 2 minutes and just focus on your breath.
Yeah. Another one I like, because it's like binaural beats. Binaural beats, like, that's, I enjoy that for meditation. Like, you zone out. Sometimes you might end up falling asleep. That's okay, you know. But that, I also have a meditation that I like called Satanama. If you look it up, it's like a chant. Satanama. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. And that at least you're doing something with your fingers. So it takes your mind off of just thinking, you know. Yeah. But
self-care feels selfish also. And it's supposed to feel selfish. Because you are taking care of yourself. But if it does feel uncomfortable, some things to remember, that you're saying yes to yourself, not no to other people. And that by doing these things for yourself, people are getting a better version of you. I need to get better at not answering my phone when I don't want to talk. Sometimes I'll answer just because it's like, I love that person, or I haven't talked to that person in a while. And every time I do that, I'm like, God, I was miserable. And I was so miserable. My energy was miserable. And it's like, we have to really take accountability for our energy and the energy we bring into a space. It's like, is it selfish to take care of yourself if it's going to make you so much kinder and warmer and a more, you know, authentic version of yourself that you're giving to the world?
Yeah, exactly. The quality of what you bring to an interaction is going to be better when you take care of yourself, you know what I mean? And you know, you're gonna be more giving when you're in front of people. You're gonna be kinder, you're gonna be sweeter, you know, because you took that time. Whereas, like, if it feels like an obligation, or people feel entitled to your energy, you're gonna be more miserable. Like, you know what I mean? You're naturally just gonna be like, I don't even want to do this, you know, like, you're pouring from an empty well. You know. So yeah, I mean, self-care, there's so many different ways to go about it. But the number one, like we said, is like putting yourself first. And even when you have children, I understand it's like sometimes like, oh, I have to meet their needs. But even just writing down a few things that you can do for yourself and making sure you create space for that is important. You know, if you don't have a babysitter, if you're like, I don't have any time, meet friends that have children that you can like swap with them. Like, I can watch your children these nights, you can watch my children these nights, you know. There's always a way. When there's a will, there's a way.
Or friends that don't have kids.
Or friends that don't have kids.
Because honestly, sometimes, like, my one friend just recently had a baby, and sometimes when we hang out, she'll be like, oh my God, this is so nice, just because, like, she likes being held and I don't have to hold her for like an hour because you come over and I want to hold her. I'm like, you know, dying to hold her. And it's like, sometimes that's all you need is like just that like 25 minutes where you can just go inside and be like,
yeah, exactly. Just take a break, right? Mental breaks, and just, breaks for clarity.
And how you physically look really impacts how you feel about yourself. And it doesn't have to be a look that satisfies anyone else. Me and Candace were talking about this the other day because I cut off all my hair. That when she had cut off all her hair, one of our friends was upset, like sad. And it's like funny because it's like, you were like, what? I'm gonna make whatever choice I want. But it's important to do that when it comes to like how you look, because I think that sometimes when we try and fit into other people's idea of ourselves is when we start feeling like, oh, I'm not worthy exactly as I am. And there are things that can ground you physically too, like wearing crystals or even just wearing jewelry. If I put jewelry and my rings on and my earrings on for the day, even if I'm working from home, I'm like, I've adorned myself.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, the final thing I just want to touch on is like caring about your feelings. You know, if you're on your day-to-day, sometimes you just need to connect with yourself and your feelings. Like, how do these things make me feel? You know, when I'm constantly going, or I get up at this time, how do I feel? You know, and it's like, if you don't feel good about the routine you're on, then you have to sit down with yourself and figure out, like, what can I try different? You know, what might make me feel better? Do I need more sleep? How can I do that? How can I get that? Do I need to move my body more? Do I need, you know, exercise, or just to, you know, movement? Okay, how can I incorporate that into my day? You know, so really tap into your feelings, tap into how being around certain people make you feel as well, and how certain behaviors make you feel, and then go from there and decide from there, like, okay, this doesn't make me, I don't feel safe, I don't feel good, I feel sad all the time, I need to, you know, distance myself from this, you know, or this makes me feel great, this makes me feel amazing, I enjoy this, like, I enjoy Chelsea's company so much, so I gravitate towards her a lot, you know.
I enjoy your company too,
yeah,
so it's true. We
like,
always
this makes
have
me
such
feel
a
good
time together.
Yeah,
and I really feel like there are people that bring that out on you. There are like things, even music. Sometimes I'll be like, kind of just feel low, and then I'll realize, like, oh, I'm listening to this music, and I think something about the frequency of the music is like low, like
vibrational.
I don't know. Yeah, and then I'll change it to something, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, but having that awareness, being super sensitive to yourself, like, if all of a sudden something in you feels a little off, you don't have to tell anybody when you feel off about a person, a place, a thing, but having that sensitivity and awareness within yourself, and doing like a little body scan of like, ooh, something just felt off.
Doesn't feel right. Acknowledge it for yourself. You know, acknowledge and affirm it for yourself. You don't need somebody else to tell you, like, this isn't it for you, or this is not right, or you shouldn't listen to this music. It's like, how do you feel about it? You know, if there's certain music and you're like, I feel great listening to this music, you know, like, I feel upbeat, I feel good about myself, then cool. You know what I mean? If it's like, I keep listening to these sad songs and I'm crying all the time, I'm feeling, you know, depressed and so forth, it's like, maybe it's time to give it a break, you know.
And if you feel like you have to go and tell everybody, you're also like seeking that validation. Like, if you say to a friend, like, oh, this person's off, don't you feel like this person is off, and your friend doesn't agree with you, it might make you question your instincts, when it's like, no, you hold that, sit with it, validate it for yourself, that person felt off to me, and move accordingly for you. You don't need anybody else to agree,
co-sign. Exactly,
because that's how we move from our intuition, because we feel like we need that validation. Intuition is an internal message for a reason. It's because it's just for you.
I agree. That's our episode on self-care. Let us know how you feel about it. If you want to drop any insight in the comments, if you have anything to add to the conversation, if you have any questions for us, let us know. You know, like, share, comment, subscribe. And hopefully we'll see you on our next episode. Cheers.
And share your self-care practices. I want to know how you guys
treat yourselves well.
Love yourselves. We love you guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.